Hello, people. So this is your family health tree. One of the things that I really believe about this assignment, and I've had evidence over and over again that people tell me this has been one of the best assignments they've ever done, if not the best they've ever done. Because I've actually had people find out, hey, I had a brother I never knew I had. Hey, I had an uncle that I never knew I had. I mean, there's actually people that discovered they had family members they never had. Now, I know some of you probably don't want to discover you have family members, and I understand that. But this is really about you. And I think one of the things that's hard, because most of you are young, and I know when you rip off that shirt, you got that S there. And when you're young, you don't think about the future. It's interesting, my dad just spent a few days with us here. And I'm looking at my dad, and I'm going, is this me in 30 years? And I got down on my knees, and no. So I think it's important that we do recognize certain things about our family, certain things that go on. And you will see this huge genetic link between the chromosomes that we talked about that your parents gave you, your biological parents, and what you are. And so I think it's important that we recognize that. Some of you look at your parents, and that's you in 20, 30 years. And I know some of you, that scares you. Some of you, you smile at that, and that's great. If it scares you, then you need to make sure you do something different than they did so that you don't either act like that or look like that. And so I think it's important that we recognize. And that's kind of what this assignment is really about. It's to try to get your awareness or to help you recognize what's going to be in the future for me when it comes to health. And I think that's what's really important. So because I try not to read every line that I hand out to you, so if you look at the first paragraph, basically this is to help you discover your future and what you're entitled to or what you may end up with health-wise. The hope here is that you see some early things that maybe I can address or cut off. If you have somebody that in your family that has had, mom's had breast cancer, sister's had breast cancer, aunt has had breast cancer, you may want to start getting mammograms at 35 instead of waiting till 40 or 50 because that is a little proactive. If you have prostate cancer in your family, instead of waiting till a certain age and not getting it checked, you may want to check early. Diabetes, all of those kind of things. You look at diabetes, and you're like, wow, this is in store for me. So how can I alter that at the age that I'm at now so I don't end up with that condition that they have at the age they are? So this is really what my goal is. Second paragraph, gathering information, phone calls, interviews. I know you're in a generation where you email, you text, and you communicate that way, and those ways are fine. I will tell you, one of the reasons I hand this out to you now is many times over the holidays, we have spring break next week, you get to see some family, or you have a little bit more time maybe to track some family down. I will tell you this, there's usually one of two things. There's usually somebody in the family that talks. Grandma's a good bet, okay? Aunts, whatever, maybe it's your family that talks. They may know something you don't know, all right? And so I think interviews are important, asking questions. I know sometimes, and I will tell you this, sometimes there's difficult subject matter. Everybody knew that Uncle Tommy died. Nobody, talks about how Uncle Tommy died. And so you need to find out how Uncle Tommy died. And maybe Uncle Tommy was an alcoholic and there's 10 alcoholics in your family and you didn't even know it because your parents didn't want you to know it. And I understand that, but now you're at the age that you should understand addiction. And you should understand that and be aware of that. And so we start to look at different things like that you're not trying to be disrespectful. You're trying to learn about your future. You're trying to make sure that you don't make the same mistakes maybe somebody else does. When all else fails, blame me. I got a crazy health teacher. He's making me do this assignment. I got to pass the class or I'll never get an education and be somebody in life. Just tell them that and then they'll answer the question. All right? And I think that, what we're looking for is to find out health information. Now, the difference between a health tree and a family tree. Family tree has everybody. Aunt, uncle, cousin. A health tree, you only follow the bloodlines. All right? So you have an aunt and an uncle, but only one of them is blood related to you. That's the only one you put down on the paper. Unless you're from Arkansas, but that's a whole other thing. I probably shouldn't have put that on there. Strike it. So here's what I want you to understand is that when you start to look at your family tree, it's different than your health family tree. So I just want you to follow the bloodlines. Now, I always have a ton of questions. Well, what about my half-sister? The term half means what?
Not blood related.
No, half means blood. Because your mother or your father had them. Their blood is in you and it's in them. So they're blood related. So you do that. That's a person that you would include. What about my stepbrother, my stepsister? You can love them to death. They can be the best people in the world. You can even include them. I'm just including because I like them. Okay? But there's no blood relationship there. What we're looking for is a genetic link here. Not that, hey, we all live in the valley and we all have allergies. You know, that's not what we're looking for. All right? Now, you may live in the valley, you may be blood related, and you may find out, hey, we all have allergies. Then you would include that. All right? And so I want you to recognize just kind of the difference between just including everybody and following the bloodlines. All right? And I am painfully aware that some of you are going to have a hard time following bloodlines. All right? I want you to understand there's a difference between I don't like them, we don't get along, and I don't know them. All right? My biological grandfather was a guy named Foster Allen. Foster Allen left his family when my dad was about 5. My dad saw him one time at 18. I don't know Foster Allen. Never heard of him. I barely know the name. I can do nothing on Foster Allen. I mean, if I look at the bloodlines of my father, I would say my father, and then I would know my grandmother, who was married to Foster Allen. I could follow that line, but I can't follow my dad's line anywhere. I can follow my dad, and that's it. Because, I mean, I put down Foster Allen. That's it. That's all I would know. And when we get through the end of this, you'll kind of understand what I mean of how to explain that stuff. So it's important that you recognize just, I understand sometimes there's not very much information in that family bloodline. Now, while we don't talk to them, they're messed up. That's why you should talk to them and find out why they're messed up, so you don't become messed up. Make sense? Yeah, I'm pushing you a little bit here. And I know I'm pushing you a little bit, all right? And so let me kind of finish pushing you, and then you can ask questions. Be respectful. I have had so many people say, wow, we had an unbelievable conversation. It was amazing. To find out things I didn't know about my family. You might actually realize that Grandma and Grandpa can talk. You know? I mean, you know, it's interesting sometimes. So I'm going to gather as much information as I can. And then this last paragraph. When you've completed these forms, and I'll go over the forms in a minute, you're going to write a 2 to 3 page paper. And I will tell you, I do one assignment in here that has writing. And I will tell you, I'm not an English professor. I'm not looking to see if every T crossed and I dotted. Do they have a prepositional phrase? You know, I'm really not looking for that, but I better be able to read it. If it says, boy ran fast, dog, bad. Okay, that's bad. And don't even think about abbreviating things like you would text message me, like y'all, or you, or what, I mean, you will infuriate me if you do that. I am a proper English person, all right? I may not be able to spell worth a darn, but use proper form when you write the paper. I know some of you aren't as gifted writing-wise. You need to write something up, have somebody read it, look it over, and make some suggestions. With one writing assignment in this class, don't mess it up. All right? Do a good job. And I'm going to give you plenty of time to do it. So, 2 to 3 page paper. Now, in your summary, I'm looking for a reaction to what you discovered. Please don't regurgitate what the papers say. Aunt Mabel had gallstones. Tommy lost a testicle. My dad's back is bad. My foot is crooked. You're writing those on the forms. I don't need those. I don't need that kind of information. What I'm looking for is your reaction. Wow, it was unbelievable how healthy we were. I was really surprised. Wow, I'm going to die at 30. You know? We have such a jacked up family. I hate you for making me do this. I'm depressed. You know? I want you to, your reaction to what you learned is really what I'm about. It's not about every little thing that's going wrong with people. It's about your reaction. I was really surprised. What caught my eye is everybody's blind. You know, here's the thing. That was pretty good, huh? I didn't even mean that one. Keep that one. Here's the thing. You may find out some earth-shattering news, and you may find out some very simplistic stuff. You may find out that there's a vision problem in your family. You may find out that, you know, hey, everybody loses their hearing early. It doesn't have to always be earth-shattering, but it can be something that helps you. For example, if you find out everybody has bad eyes, one day you might have a kid and they're doing terrible in the 2nd grade. And you know what? You may say, you know what, let's get their eyes checked. Where do you sit in class? It may help you down the road. It's as simple as that on some stuff. And then you might find out, hey, cancer, you may find out this, you may find out that, you may find out some really, hey, you know what, I got to be really careful. There's so many heart conditions in my family, I have to eat right. I look at all the heart attacks people have had, the stress they've had. You know, hey, I better not be an air traffic controller. I've seen what stress does to my family. You know, those are the kind of things that are sidelights and make bigger issues of what goes on. So, your reaction's what I'm looking for. Then, discuss changes necessary in your own life. What can you do now, based upon what you learned, to maybe live a healthier and more enjoyable life? What can you do now to be proactive, based upon what you learned, to change, to make some lifestyle change that may really help you down the road? One of the things that I want you to get out of this is that, hey, this is the road that I'm on. And if I stay on this road, this is what's going to happen. Now, that may be a great road, and it may be a road that you need to make a couple turns off of. All right? And that's all I'm trying to get you to understand. How does this apply to me, and what do I see in the future? Most people say, I'm going to change when I get older. I'm going to start exercising when I have time when I get older. You think you have more time?
No.
Yeah, you don't. I'm living proof you don't have more time. I'm living proof that you just got to get up earlier. You know, and you go to bed earlier, which is really one of your problems. What time is it? It's not midnight yet. I can't go to bed. Are you tired? Yeah, but it's not midnight. So, please make those topics such as diet, sleep, exercise. Start hearing things over and over from me. And then I kind of give you some guidelines. I want it double spaced. It must be typed. Please organize it well. You can handwrite on these forms, but I want the summary typed. And you place the summary on top of this. You can take this page off if you want. And then you'll have these 3 papers, and then you'll have your summary on top of that. Let's turn over to the first page which says personal history. I am going to be a stickler for how you fill out your forms, because I'm going to tell you exactly how I want it. Okay, personal history. You may want to write this down. Is you, any siblings you have, or any children you have? Siblings are your brothers and sisters, whether they're half or not half. This is where you would put down siblings. If you have any children that you know of, they would go on here. Okay? If you're an only child, your name is the only one on this sheet. Okay? One name, period. So, name, and by the way, about names, I know some people are very touchy about their health information. Lie. I don't care. If your brother's name is Tom, put him as Jerry. Okay, I'm not, let me finish. It doesn't matter to me the name. That's inconsequential. I'm not looking for people's personal information. What I'm looking for is, did you find some patterns? All right? So I know some people are. Relationship, on all of these pages, the relationship is relationship to you. So, brother, sister, son, daughter on this page. You go on the other page. Aunt, uncle, cousin, mother, father. Those are the things that would be on grandpa, great-grandpa, great-great-great-great-grandpa. If you can find it. All right? So, the next one, sex. I'm not asking if they've had it. I want to know if they're male or female. Age. The age they are now, or the age when they were deceased. All right? So, if somebody's passed away, they died at 18, you would put 18 on that. And then obviously the next column says living or deceased. You can put an L or a D there so we know if somebody's living or deceased. All right? The next two categories, illness and disease. Some people get really touchy about these. I'm not. All right? So diabetes, illness or disease. I don't care. Put it where you want. Alcoholism, illness or disease. I don't care. Put it where you want. I know, sorry, it's a disease. Good. Put it under disease. I do not think it's a disease, it's an illness. Put it under illness. All right? So I give you two categories so you, vibrate it. Injuries. One of the things you might see, and you will see this in families, is there a certain injury that's very common within my family? Now, people can have a lot of different injuries. There's nothing common. But when you start to see a common injury, that may be something of note. Some injuries are more prevalent than others. So certainly we would look at that. Surgeries. When we start to look at surgeries, certain surgeries are self-explanatory. Appendectomy. You had your appendix out. All right? Heart surgery. There's a lot of different heart surgeries. Knee surgery. There may be several different knee surgeries. Back surgery. A lot of different surgeries on the back. So if you look at the back of the form, see how there's lines all over that? If anything you put on the front of the form, you need to explain to me. Heart surgery. Triple bypass at age 52. Meat and potatoes man. That type of thing. So you can certainly define for me what you're talking about. I should be able to look at the forms and follow health. What did you find out? That's what I should be able to do. Did you fill out the forms properly? All right? If you look at the next one is father's heritage, and then the next one's mother's heritage. So your mother and father don't go on the same sheet. You have grandma, grandpa on one side, grandma, grandpa on the other side. Cousins, aunts, uncles, all on their own bloodline side. Follow the bloodline. Now, for some of you, I don't know my father. I don't know him. Mom and Ann had a one-night stand, and I was the byproduct of that. Say, fine, just put the sperm donor. It's okay, Or you could say unknown, and then on the back of the page, just explain, hey, didn't know. I don't know. That's okay. It's not your fault. It's not a huge deal. Don't make an issue of it. I'm not going to make an issue of it. Now, I'm going to make an issue and say, I don't like him. We don't talk. You don't have to talk. Write him a letter. Fill in the blanks. Create some things for him. Do you have this disease? Do you have it? No, I'm just kidding. Try to get the information you can. You may be able to talk to grandma on that side. Your mother may be able to tell you something about your father. Some things, questions you've never asked. And I realize some of these are hard. I want you to understand that. Some of these are hard. I recognize that. But it's really for you. And when you recognize this, hey, you know what? Your deficiencies with communication, your deficiencies with disease, whatever it may be, and this is important for you to understand. You do have a genetic link to these two people. All right? And that's what I want you to press to find out a little bit about. Couple things that I would kind of encourage you as sidelight to this. One of the best papers I ever had was well done. The forms were filled out, everybody's name, sister, brother, blah, blah, blah. In the summary, she wrote, this is what they have to look forward to, this is what I think is going to happen to them, and this is what I noticed, blah, blah, blah. Last paragraph. None of this information applied to me because I was adopted at 2. My parents died in an auto crash, were burnt to death, and I know nothing about my biological family. The whole thing was on her adopted family. It was a great paper, it was well done, and she explained and did the project for them. This is what I noticed about your family that I've been raised in. But for her, she just explained, hey, this is the situation I'm in. It was well done. So, I mean, certainly that's something you can do. Some of you, I've been adopted, or I don't know this. That's fine. If you were raised with a certain family and you want to do the information for them, that's fine. If you have family, I want you to press and try to find that information. All right? So there is a difference between I have no communication and I don't have. You know what I mean? So that would be one thing. All right, let me answer some questions now. What questions might you have? All right, yes.
Do you have a half brother who died as soon as he was born?
Yes, if you want to include like siblings that have died or somebody who's had miscarriages, those type of things, certainly include those. If you want to include them, fine. I think things like miscarriage, you'll be surprised how many people, if you ask that question, have had miscarriages, have had pregnancies that have not gone full term. So those are questions that, you know, especially if I was a young female, I would want to know. You know, have you ever had, you know, has there been any birth issue stuff? So again, what you want to include is obviously certain things with that. All right. Okay, I would really ask you guys to listen to questions so I don't have to answer the same question 3 and 4 times. So if you could stop talking and keep your questions to me, it would help all of us. All right, what do you got?
Oh, for your personal history, what if you don't really have anything? Do you just start on your mother and father heritage for the summary?
Okay, you are going to have some personal history. Something's happened to you. Okay?
Me or like my brothers? They have nothing happened to them.
Well,
They don't have anything.
and again, hey, here's the deal. If you can fill this out and nothing earth-shattering's happened, yeah! So, but you've never had an injury. You've never been sick. No, nothing.
Yeah, but like little, like a...
Well, put the little stuff down.
Like, I would say a sore throat or something for my brothers.
Yeah, let's not put that. It's okay if you're healthy. It's okay. What you might find out when you start talking to your mother about your brothers, they were a mess when they were 2 or 3 and you were 1. You didn't know it. So maybe they had problems at birth. Maybe they didn't. Hey, we've been healthy. Don't feel bad if you were healthy.
I'm not.
Yes.
Both of my grandpas had a love my grandma, and the only grandpa I have is a step-grandpa, so I just not do my grandpas.
And that's a great question because whether it's a father figure or grandpa, sometimes people like, hey, you're asking grandma questions. Oh, I'm not going to ask you because you're not biological. Okay? If you want to ask them questions, as long as you understand in your summary, I need to understand that. So if you want to ask them questions and find out about it, certainly okay. All right? If you want to include people to not offend people, certainly okay. So when you start to look at tracing down family, for your purposes, you're obviously going to be more interested in what grandmas say, right? And you may find something out about the ones that left. Were they addicts? Were they, druggies? Were they alcoholics? Were they just free-spirited? You know what I'm saying? And that can tell us some information also. So it's important that we recognize that. Yes.
Is it okay, because I was adopted when I was 5 and I don't know my parents, but my sister and I were adopted together and I only know her and my 2 nieces. Is that okay if I just use those 3?
Well, what I would encourage you to do, if you're adopted at 5, you have at least a family that raised you. And so what I would do is concentrate on what you know about you and your sister and your niece and nephew or whatever it was. And certainly that would be in your personal history. And then I would go ahead and track the people that raised you. I don't think there's a problem with that. If there was other kids in the family, this and that, I would think it would be good to do that. In your summary would certainly denote, kind of like I said, hey, these people raised me. This is what I did for them as far as finding out about their health. But for me, it's just going to be my sister and I because this is what happened to my parents. All right? Any other questions? Yes?
What's the due date?
Great question. Due date. Right there on the due date. I don't know. What's today? All right, so we get back from spring break.
21st.
Is it we get back on the 21st? We get back on the 18th?
On the 21st.
No, that's 21st.
21st.
Yeah, because that's Friday.
We get back on the 21st,
420.
23rd. Let's make it the 28th, because you have 1 week when we get back to get everything organized. So Monday the 28th, if that's the right day, could somebody check on their calendar for me? Monday the 28th. Did you have a question? Did she have a question?
The miscarriage, like under what category would you put it?
Good question. The question was, if you had a miscarriage, what could we put it under? You know, that's a great question. I would probably put it under illness. If you want to cross out, you know, I put its own category and just put like learned at birth kind of stuff. I think that's fine. Yes. Loudly, please.
Like for, I have a niece, would I insert her personal history?
Okay. What I want you to say, your niece is related to who?
My sister?
So then it's under personal history.
Okay, and how about if we don't have enough room here?
Yeah. Now, I'm assuming some of you have very large families. I have extra forms. Okay, now, and here's the thing, and I would tell you this. Hey, if you come from a family of 1 million, all right, then, you know, certainly, I would just include people that you recognize health stuff off of. You know, you don't have to put down 40 people that say, healthy, 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 healthy. Okay? I mean, you would, in your summary, hey, I have this many. Now, I also tell you, some of you are creative on computers. If you want to make your own forms and do something different, I'm okay with that, but the summary needs to be what I'm asking. You know what I'm saying? So, because some of you spend so much time on your forms that your summary's terrible. Question?
In the personal history, would you put yourself?
Yeah, yourself. You have to put yourself. You will get marked down a lot if you don't put yourself.
If your siblings have children, that goes on your
Siblings go into your personal history. Just think of it this way.
siblings' children.
Your siblings' children. Yes, they would go. That's your niece and nephew. Yeah, they're under personal history. I don't know why you're all folding up. I mean, I have 8 to 10 minutes here. I was going to sing and dance a little bit. Send you off for spring break. Any other questions? Yes?
Do you want to do like an apple tree?
An apple tree? No, I don't want you to do that. If you want to do that and do something creative, I'm not a very creative person. I just want the information. And I want it done well. Yes?
So, like, if they did drugs in their family, we're going to talk about the drug they did and what caused them to get the illness of what they did.
Okay, good question. He says, if they did drugs, do I give them what drugs and do I tell you that?
Right?
No.
Also,
If you want to and it has pertinent information, you're just going to say, druggie. Okay? And it really should come addiction. What drugs are, and people get caught up in that, is addiction. So you certainly want to point that out. Now, if there's something pertinent about the drug that they did or what that led to their health-wise, you know, certainly would want to follow that line.
Explain that.
Yeah, so, I mean, hey, they smoked a bunch of weed and they're stupid.
okay.
You know what I'm saying? All right, anything else? If you could just do one favor for me, have a really good week off.